Faithful. This is the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jackson swings, hits it in the air, deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the final game of a 4-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today on the mound for the Dodgers, right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and for the Padres, right-hander Ryan Berger. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from Dodger Stadium in LA. First pitch coming up at 7:10 as the Padres wrap up this 7-game road trip. A lot to do in the next 50 minutes. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We hear from Padres outfielder Bryce Johnson. He's playing center field, batting 8th in the lineup today for the Padres. And we'll also check in with Padres radio voice Jesse Agler in just a few minutes. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971, with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 39-34. It has not gone particularly well for the Pods as of late. They've lost 7 of their last 9 games, all against the National League West. Meanwhile, the Dodgers have won 5 in a row. They come into today's game 46-29. Padres enter today 6 games behind the Dodgers for first place in the NL West. Padres are just 1-5 against LA so far this season. Let's rewind to what happened last night in Game 3 of this 4-game set.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Let's begin in the second. Jake Cronenworth hit a leadoff double. He was still on second base with 2 men away for Elias Diaz.
0-2 to Diaz, line sharply up the middle, kicks off of Edman into right field. Cronenworth will come in to score, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead.
The early story was Stephen Kolek. He was really good early on. 4 scoreless innings to begin his night, but there was trouble in the 5th inning. Max Muncy hit a leadoff triple. Andy Pages followed with a sac fly to center. Muncy scored. That tied the game at 1-1. Dodgers weren't done against Kolek. Later in the inning, there were 2 on for Dalton Rushing.
And that's it on a line into right field, down to the base hit. Fernando's got to send it in. Both runs will come in to score. It's a 2-run single for the 9-hitter Dalton Rushing. And for the first time tonight, the Dodgers lead. It's 3-1.
Padres still trail 3-1 going to the 9th inning. They loaded the bases with nobody out against Dodger lefty Justin Robleski. Jake Cronenworth made it 3-2 with a sacrifice fly. Xander Bogaerts was next.
Xander hits it on a line out to left center field. He's found the alleyway. Machado rounding third. He's going to score. Lockridge is racing to third. He'll be held there. Bogaerts into second with a game-tying RBI double in the 9th.
Padres would never get the go-ahead run home from third base. That would end up being very costly because we had a tie game going to the bottom half of the 9th inning, tied at 3. It was Robert Suarez against pinch hitter Will Smith in the bottom half of the 9th.
The pitch from Suarez swung on, hit in the air to right center field and deep. Fernando racing back at the wall, leaps up. It's going to go. Walk-off, pinch hit, home run, maybe? Yes. Tatis, for a moment, looked like he might have caught it. He didn't. And Smith has hit a pinch hit, walk-off home run to break the Padres' hearts here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
A heartbreaker indeed. Final score, Dodgers 4 and the Padres 3. Will Smith, a walk-off home run to win it for the Dodgers last night here in LA. And now the Padres trying to avoid a 4-game sweep at the hands of the Dodgers here today. After today, these teams actually won't meet again until a stretch of 6 meetings in a 10-day span in mid to late August to close out their season series. So it's going to be a while after today until we see the Dodgers again. Padres trying to avoid being swept in a 4-game series for the first time since they were swept in Atlanta in 2017. So hopefully we're not talking about that later on our post-game coverage. Hopefully the Padres can wrap up this road trip with a win here tonight in LA. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 7:10, let's check in with Jesse Agler.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, let's start with the big picture view of where the Padres are right now. Obviously, it's been a difficult road trip, a difficult series to this point. Still an opportunity to pick up what would be a nice and a much-needed win in LA here tonight. Where do you assess where the Padres are as they enter the final game of this series, considering everything that's happened on this trip and in this series so far?
I would say that they're obviously not playing their best baseball right now. They're not getting their best results right now. But, you know, they kind of are where they were last year in a lot of ways at this point. And, in fact, 2 games better than they were after 73 games a year ago. And, look, the team last year went on and had a tremendous second half. You know, I remember they lost the first game in Cleveland after the All-Star break. And then after that, you know, they were a machine. And I'm not suggesting it's as simple as flipping a switch after the All-Star break again here this year. What last year's team accomplished was very, very special in the second half. But, you know, they're about where they were at this time last year. I don't think there's any doubt that some things have to get better. Production from the guys who are healthy, getting the guys back who aren't, and very possibly some moves to be made as well. But, you know, I don't want to say everything is perfect as it is because they can and need to play better and get better results. But where are they is the question you ask. They're about where they were at this point a season ago. And at the end of the day, last year was one of the best regular seasons in franchise history.
And no secret to the guys down there that they need to play better. Fernando Tatis Jr. talked about it last night after the game, and certainly there is good baseball left this season for the Padres. And Jesse, I'm right there with you. It's still very early, believe it or not, even though we're heading towards midway point of the season. If we learned anything last year, it is a very, very, very long season. So a lot of baseball left to play. And if the season ended last night, Padres would be in a playoff spot. So it gives you a little perspective. Let's talk about the pitching matchup here tonight. Right-hander Ryan Bergert on the mound for the Padres. And I think, Jesse, you have to give Ryan Bergert a lot of credit. He was given an opportunity to start, to come back up from AAA, and was thrust into the rotation because the Padres needed a starter. And he's been really, really solid so far.
He has. And a couple of things that I really like about watching Ryan Bergert through, you know, just 3 starts, but nonetheless, you know, you can spot some trends. One is, you know, he just, and this is going to sound maybe a little silly, but he looks like he belongs. You know, he doesn't look out of place on a big league mound in any way. He carries himself with the confidence of a guy who knows that he belongs, and he's been able to give him at least 5 innings in all 3 starts so far. And I mean, how many times this year have you and me or Tony and I or Mudd and I, you know, had a conversation about the importance of these starters, you know, trying to get a little bit deeper into games. And, you know, for this guy who's probably dealing with the lightest expectations of anybody who started a game this year, he has at least given them 5 every time that he's gone out there. If that continues to be a trend for Ryan Bergert, he will continue to get opportunities, and we will continue to say very nice things about it. But it's kind of fun to watch. He goes out there, he competes, he comes right after these guys. He doesn't appear to be intimidated by any of the names on the back of the jerseys. Tonight will certainly be a great test of that. But he's really, really been enjoyable to watch so far.
Yeah, certainly a very tough test for Bergert here tonight against this LA lineup. On the other side of this pitching matchup, right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for LA. He had a terrific start to the season, Jesse, but as of late, it's been a little bit rockier. He's also somebody the Padres have seen a lot of going back to last year. And aside from 1 start in the postseason, Jesse, they hit him pretty well. It's going to be an interesting matchup with Yamamoto here tonight.
Yeah, you know, our first look at him in 2025, and you're right, they knocked him around pretty much every time they saw him until they didn't in Game 5 of the division series, and he was really, really sharp that night. I know the Padres were slumping collectively. We all know 24 straight innings without scoring a run to end that series, but I remember very vividly sitting in the exact chair I'm sitting in right now, looking out at Dodger Stadium, turning to Tony. I don't know if it was after the top of the first inning or the top of the second inning, but it was very early on in the game. And during a commercial, I said to Tony, I was like, he looks really good. And he was noticeably better in Game 5 of the Division Series than in any of the other times that we got to see him last year. As you said, a little bit up and down this year. Walks have been a problem. Home runs have been a problem. Hopefully the Padres are able to take advantage of that tonight. But he's got great stuff. And when he's locked in, he can be about as good as anybody.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting matchup here tonight. Yamamoto against Berger. Jesse, as always, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Mark Grant coming up at the very top of the hour as the Padres try to salvage the finale of this 4-game series. As always, Jesse, thanks so much.
You got it, Sam. I think you said we're done, but of course I can't actually hear anything you're saying because of the sound system here at Dodger Stadium.
Yes, it is very loud with the sound system right now. But hey, got to power through it here on our pregame coverage. That's Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show as we get ready for today's game on the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, we hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll also hear from Bryce Johnson back in the lineup today for the Padres a little bit later as well. Much more to do on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. We continue after this on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned.
EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you here at Dodger Stadium in LA as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 7:10 between the Padres and the Dodgers. Padres trying to avoid a 4-game sweep before they head home for the start of a homestand tomorrow. Game 1 of a 3-game series tomorrow evening against the Kansas City Royals. We'll talk much more about that in our post-game coverage. There are many celebrations for Juneteenth here tonight at Dodger Stadium, and right now they have a celebrity softball game going on the field right now, and there are a lot of celebrities down there playing softball. A lot of names you'll know. They have Lil Wayne down there. They've got Monet Davis, Matt Barnes, Alfonso Riviera, who played Carlton in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Victoria Monet. Packers quarterback Jordan Love, Terrell Owens, the game down there. So part of the celebrations here tonight, the Juneteenth softball game going on right now here at Dodger Stadium with a lot of notable celebrities down there. So that's been nice for the fans to enjoy before tonight's game between the Padres and the Dodgers. Taking a look at the Padres lineup here tonight, it looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field, leading off. Luis Rise at first base, batting second. Manny Machado at third base, batting third. Gavin Sheets in left field, batting cleanup. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, batting fifth. Jake Cronenworth at second base, batting sixth. Jose Iglesias is DHing, batting seventh. Bryce Johnson in center field, batting eighth. And Martin Maldonado doing the catching and batting ninth, with right-hander Ryan Berger on the mound. Meanwhile, for the Dodgers, DH Shohei Ohtani leading off. Mookie Betts, the shortstop, batting second. Will Smith at catcher, batting third. Freddie Freeman at first base, batting cleanup. Teoscar Hernandez in right field, batting fifth. Max Muncy at third base, batting sixth. Andy Pajes in left field, batting seventh. In the eighth spot, Tommy Edman playing second base, and Ha-Seong Kim in center field, batting ninth, with right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers here tonight. With all that in mind, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's series finale.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Mike Ryan Berger going for you today. What's impressed you so far in what he's been doing?
Similar to Kolick and Degree Vasquez, Randy was with us last year, but not making it bigger than it is. It's a nice trait. He's been able to go out. I know he's had some support from obviously Ruben, the pitching staff, myself, but his teammates, most importantly, but he gets all the credit. Just go out and go execute your pitches, and that's either good enough or it's not. And more often than not, well executed pitches, give you a chance to compete very well, and he's done that.
Sometimes with younger pitchers, they try to do more with their stuff, feeling like they've got to be more or try to do more here at the big league level. It seems like he's done a pretty good job of managing that part of it and just staying within himself.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's another good way of saying, exactly that. Not making it bigger than it is. My stuff is my stuff, and most young players, understandably, regardless of level, I've basically been at every single level, whether you're going into high school or JV to varsity or, high school to college or college to rookie ball or rookie ball to A ball to AA to AAA. You always kind of want to dip your toe in the water and go, where do I fit? Where do I stand? And so, you're doing it at the highest level, and the human component is to do that. But this was separator here is to recognize that, I'm just going to dip my toe in and I'm going to trust what I have. And, I know Berger's been able to do that. And as has, David Morgan comes to mind as well.
It might be on the same theme, but he's done an excellent job of controlling the top three batters in opposing lineups up to this point. I know it's a small sample size, but is there something that you've seen in terms of his ability to sort of manage some of the better in opposing lineups, or does it kind of go back to what you were just talking about?
I think it goes back to exactly. It's even more important against the better hitters, right? I mean, your margin for error is, and even if you have no margin for, even if you make a great pitch, it doesn't guarantee it against, any hitter, especially the guys that are on trajectories for All-Stars and Hall of Fames. But yeah, it's more important that, you get it where you need to go to and let your defense work behind you.
Gavin Sheets on a 9-game hitting streak. It's the longest of his career. Is there something to be read into that in terms of his growth as a hitter and, the consistency that he's showing and how he's coming along?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it starts with his ability. I think there's no question he has it. He's in a good lineup. So, he's got some people around him that help him. He's been able to make whatever small adjustments there have been made at the big league level to have that consistency. And I think beyond that, it's about opportunity. That's the thing about it is we talk about it every night. There's opportunity out there, and, he's earned more opportunity and he's earned the right. We had a lot of understandable questions about, Sheets versus lefty, Sheets versus lefty, Sheets versus lefty. Yeah, that's fair. do see good at bats. I see the work. I see the ability to make adjustments. And so when you do that, everyday players hit righties and lefties, and he's showing in to be an everyday player.
I think felt like last night, maybe I'm wrong, your happiness for Xander was even bigger than, say, the moment. That it was, an understanding that he's been scuffling.
Right.
I just, what are your thoughts on it? I mean, it really has been a little bit perplexing.
It's been perplexing. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to support and love our players. And, the thing about support is, not to make some societal statement, but, it's interesting to me about the support systems that take place when people are having success and how they can evaporate very quickly when they're not having success. And that's mostly peripherally. And we get that. We signed up for performance and win games, and we're not alibiing that at all. But, the longer answer to your question, Ace, is I'm always going to support guys when they're struggling, because that's just what you do to people you care about. Now, specific to what you make of the struggle, one thing that's a head scratcher, and I should have this written down for you, but we looked at it internally and, spoken to Xander about it. I think he knows it. Like, you look at almost every measurable since the day he's been a Padre in the last 3 years, whether it's chase rate, whether it's exit velocity, whether it's consistency of barrel rate, hard hit, all those things, he's in as good a place as he's been in multiple years. And so now you just chalk it up to, man, baseball can be really, really hard and frustrating, because it ultimately, with an exception or two here, is that you can do everything right in that batter's box against the hardest thing to do in the world is to hit a moving baseball, especially in 2025, and then not get the result when you hit it well, and then have to answer to what's wrong with you. Golfers hit their putt, read their line, it goes in.
Mike, from your perspective with Xander, how has he handled not getting those types of results?
Xander's human, and Xander cares. Ultimately the best question is for Xander, how he feels. I can't answer that. All I can tell you is that this is a guy with an exceptionally high care factor for his team. And, he's had his personal accomplishments. He still wants to have more. I mean, who doesn't, right? But he's won his 5 Silver Sluggers. He's got 2 World Series rings. He genuinely cares about the success of this team. And he, it's like, and he's a very introverted guy. And, I think he carries a lot of heaviness with him when it doesn't go as well as he'd like. And all we can do is support him and love on him.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Mike on our postgame coverage coming up later on this evening. Sam Levitt back with you inside the broadcast booth here at Dodger Stadium in LA. First pitch coming up at 7:10 for the final game of this 4-game series between the Padres and the Dodgers. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
Let's begin with a look at the hot category. Gavin Sheets in the midst of a career-high 9-game hitting streak. He's batting .375 in 32 at-bats during that span. Luis Arraez, 2 for 4 last night and 5 for 9 in his past 2 games. So both those guys in the hot category. As far as the not category, El Jose Iglesias DHing tonight, batting 7th. He is 0 for his last 15 in his last 18 plate appearances. He has walked twice in that span as well. But again, 0 hits in his last 15 at-bats. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for this series finale in L.A. When we come back, we'll take a look at some headlines from around the major leagues, our keys to the game. Plus, I go one-on-one with Padres outfielder Bryce Johnson. Bryce Johnson in the lineup here today playing center field. Had a base hit in yesterday's game. I'll catch up with Bryce and much, much more to come on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Hey, gang, it's Woodsy. Ever wanted to drink your shower?
Welcome back to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft. Since 1925, your water should be perfect. Sam Levitt with you inside Dodger Stadium here in LA as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 7:10. I go one-on-one with Padres outfielder Bryce Johnson in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Our keys to the game and a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. But first, let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
A few headlines from around the major leagues. The Red Sox have sent Christian Campbell, one of their top prospects, back to AAA. Campbell is the reigning minor league player of the year. He signs an 8-year, $60 million contract extension before the beginning of the season. Won AL Rookie of the Month in April, but he struggled offensively since then, and the Red Sox sending him back to AAA. The Royals' Jack Caglione got his first night off as a major leaguer. Let me kind of reset the story here. Jack Caglione, who the Padres will see with the Royals starting tomorrow, hits his first major league home run yesterday, so that was the highlight for Caglione. James Wood hit a pair of 2-run home runs as the Nationals snapped an 11-game losing skid earlier today against the Rockies. And finally, Phillies moved Aaron Nola to the 60-day IL a week after he injured his rib cage while trying to work himself back from a sprained right ankle. So a quick look at some headlines from around the major leagues, a couple of headlines on the out-of-town scoreboard as well, and we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in just a little bit. Well, Bryce Johnson is playing center field and batting eighth for the Padres here tonight after getting a double in yesterday's game. Johnson, of course, played 47 games with the Padres last season. He famously caught the final out of Dylan Cease's no-hitter in Washington, D.C. Johnson then signed with the Pirates as a minor league free agent in the offseason, but then the Padres traded for him in April in exchange for longtime Padres minor league catcher Brett Sullivan, who obviously had some time in the major leagues as well. So now Bryce Johnson back with the Padres organization, back in the major leagues, and he is playing center field in place of Jackson Merrill here tonight. I caught up with Bryce Johnson inside the clubhouse earlier today. Bryce, welcome back to the Padres clubhouse. How would you describe, I would imagine, the whirlwind that the last couple of months have been?
No, it's been a crazy little journey, but, it's been a fun one, and I'm happy to be on the ride and happy to be back.
Obviously, you were here last year. Then you end up signing with the Pirates in the offseason. You're, I suppose, at AAA and then find out you're getting traded. Can you take us through kind of that experience of finding out you were coming back here?
Yeah, it was kind of like 1 week there, and then I came back and we had a couple of home games and was getting ready for a day game and was told, hey, got to take you out of the lineup. You just been traded. We don't know who to, but hey, you've been traded. And then I sat in the clubhouse for about obviously called my agent, trying to figure out some answers because I guess they didn't have any yet either. So he didn't know anything, never heard from anybody for a couple of hours, sat there and watched the AAA game for a little bit, and then ended up saying bye to the guys, still not knowing where I was going.
Wow.
Went back to the apartment and then found out right then and there that, we were going back.
So what were your emotions during those few hours where you knew you were leaving the Pirates, but you didn't know where you were going?
Yeah, I mean, it was a whirlwind kind of, first time ever being traded.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, where are we going to end up? But got back, talked to Steiny and everybody, and just happy to be back.
What was your reaction when you found out it was back to the Padres of all teams?
There was a lot of emotions because, I've created a lot of relationships with these guys in here, not just here in AAA too. So, being able to text those guys, call them, say, hey, we're coming back was a good feeling, but I was ecstatic.
The other interesting part about the whole situation is that you and Brett Sullivan get traded for one another, and obviously you spent time together last season. What was that like when you found out that not only were you coming to San Diego, but you were getting traded for Brett Sullivan?
Funny story. So he calls me, and at this time I knew it was for me and him, but he calls me asking me, about the team and stuff like that. And then I'm thinking he knows that it's, 1 for 1. And he ended up having no idea that it was for me. So he ended up finding out right then and there So it was kind of a crazy little story, but that's my guy.
You mentioned being back here and having familiarity with this clubhouse. What's it been like to just be back here around these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's, a veteran clubhouse. So, being able to just still learn from these guys. I was here for a little bit last year and, with the Giants before, but being able to just learn from all these guys who have, have so many years under their belts, it's a great clubhouse, to learn from. So that's what I've been taking from it.
You look at yesterday's game, you had a big hit, 2-run game. You brought the tying run to the plate with your double late in the game yesterday. How do you feel offensively right now?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I think it's just, getting the reps, still, getting my feet under me and getting going. It's a whole different ball game up here compared to down there. So, but no, it was a big hit, big confidence booster going into today. So, we'll use it.
How do you feel about this Padres-Dodgers rivalry, what it's kind of been like over the course of the last couple of weeks?
So not only have I been a part of this one now, I was with the Giants too. Right. So it's kind of like I'm always in the mix with these guys. But, they got a good ball club over there. We got a good ball club. So it's always fun, going at it.
Well, Bryce, welcome back to the Padres. Great to have you here. And thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good conversation there with Bryce Johnson. Again, Bryce is playing center field tonight for the Padres and batting eighth. First pitch coming up at 7:10 here in LA for the final game of this 4-game series. Let's do a quick check-in on our injury report.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
A few quick updates for you. Jose Iglesias came out of Tuesday's game after getting hit by a pitch in the left hand. Iglesias did come into the game late yesterday. Iglesias is back in the lineup today, DHing and batting seventh. As you probably know, Jackson Merrill continues to be on the 7-day concussion IL. Yu Darvish is scheduled to face hitters in a simulated game tomorrow at Petco Park. So we should have an update on you tomorrow on how that goes. It sounded like that could happen Saturday as well, but either tomorrow or Saturday, we'll see exactly what the schedule is for Yu Darvish. And then Jason Hayward continuing his rehab assignment with AAA El Paso. He once again played yesterday, and that's a look at the injury report. Quick updates on Hayward, Darvish, Merrill, and Iglesias. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one, grab a lead and hold it. The Padres have lost all 3 games in this series despite scoring the first run in each of the games. Last night's loss, get this, was the 17th consecutive game where the Padres have had a lead at some point. They are 7-10 in those games so far in that 17-game span. Key number 2, slow down Will Smith and Andy Pages. Will Smith has really hurt the Padres so far this season. He's hitting .529 against the Padres with 3 home runs and 7 RBIs in 5 games. That includes last night's walk-off home run. Smith is having a real good year. His .966 OPS ranks 4th in the major leagues, behind only Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and Cal Raleigh. He's also now leading the NL in both batting average and on-base percentage. The point being, look, I'm not trying to do too much Dodger loving here, as they say, but there's so much to talk about with Ohtani and Betts and Freeman. You can't sleep on what Will Smith is doing right now and how dangerous he has been against the Padres. And by the way, lineup today for LA, not Ohtani, Betts, Freeman. It's Ohtani, Betts, Smith, and then Freeman. So Will Smith hitting the ball well right now, moved up to the number 3 spot in the lineup. Andy Pages also hitting .471 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs in a 5-game hitting streak. He had a couple of home runs on Tuesday. Key number 3. You heard Mike Shildt talk about Xander Bogaerts earlier. Our third key, hey, X-Man, do it again. Xander Bogaerts had a big game-tying double last night, just his 7th RBI in the last 30 games. That double last night had an exit velocity of 112.2 miles per hour, tied for his hardest hit ball of the season. Hey, Xander, Need more of that. More of that would be great. Hopefully, it's a sign of things to come for Xander Bogaerts. Key number 4, Manny mashing. Manny Machado's 20 RBIs in 17 games this month are tied with Pete Alonso entering today for the Major League lead in RBIs during June. 8 of those RBIs have come in the 6 games so far against the Dodgers this month. Manny has been awesome so far this season. And don't get me wrong, he's been awesome. But quietly, he's cooled down a bit lately. Manny is just 5 for 27 in his last 7 games with only 2 extra base hits in that span. So the Padres need Manny to produce. Always need Manny, and hopefully Manny can pick it up a little bit. So key number 4, Manny mashing, and that's a look at our keys to today's game. First pitch coming up at 7:10 here at Dodger Stadium in LA. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Finals today, Phillies beat the Marlins 2-1 in Miami in game 1 of a doubleheader between the Cardinals and the White Sox. Game 1 went to the Cardinals. They beat the White Sox 5-4. Game 2, Cardinals won it again in 10, 8-6 in Chicago. Giants beat the Guardians 2-1 in San Francisco earlier. Diamondbacks beat the Blue Jays 9-5 in Toronto. Royals beat the Rangers 4-1. I had a mistake earlier. I said Jack Caglione hit 2 home runs yesterday. My mistake. Those 2 home runs were today in that game, that win for the Royals over the Rangers. Brewers beat the Cubs 8-7 in Chicago. We had another doubleheader today. Tigers beat the Pirates in game 1 in Detroit 9-2. Game 2 going on right now. They're tied at 4 in Detroit in the 8th inning. Or in fact, they have a rain delay right now in that game. Pirates and Tigers tied at 4. Other finals, Nationals beat the Rockies in 11, 4-3. Yankees beat the Angels 7-3 in New York. Paul Goldschmidt, Trent Grisham hit home runs in that game for the Yankees. Twins beat the Reds 12-5 in Cincinnati. Games going on right now. The Braves lead the Mets 7-1 in Atlanta in the 8th inning. Mets in danger of losing a 6th in a row. Orioles lead the Rays 4-1 in Tampa Bay in the 7th inning. And only one other game yet to begin aside from this one. The Astros and the A's in Sacramento at 7:05. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Thursday evening. When we come back, we tell you what to watch for in today's game and a full breakdown of our starting pitching matchup between Ryan Berger and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. First pitch coming up in just a little bit right here on the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925 and celebrating 100 years.
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here from LA at Dodger Stadium. Sam Levitt with you as we get ready for the series finale between the Padres and the Dodgers. Right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for LA. Right-hander Ryan Bergert on the mound for San Diego. We'll talk plenty more about that starting pitching matchup coming up in just a moment. First, let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's series finale.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in tonight's game. Is tonight the night for Fernando? Fernando Tatis Jr. has gone a career-high 19 games since his last home run on May 27th. This has typically been a building where Fernando has crushed the baseball. He entered this series with 12 home runs in just 34 regular season games here. He also had 2 home runs here in last year's NLDS. He had 2 singles on Monday, but no hits in the last 2 games. Now 2 for 10 in this series. So what am I watching for here tonight? Can Fernando end this drought tonight in this building before the Padres head back home? This has been a building typically Fernando has a lot of success in. It's been an up and down series. Fernando's due for a long ball. We'll see if he can get it here tonight. That's what to watch for in the final game of this 4-game set. Let's take a deeper look at tonight's starting pitching matchup.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview on the Padres Radio Network.
On the mound for the Padres, right-hander Ryan Bergert. The 25-year-old so far as a rookie has been very good. 1-0, a 2.33 ERA in 7 outings, 3 starts, 19 innings and a third, 16 strikeouts and 8 walks. His last start against the D-backs, he went 5 innings, 3 earned runs given up, 3 hits allowed, a career-high 8 strikeouts. 3 starts so far since being moved into the rotation, a 2.93 ERA in 15 innings and a third so far as a starter. This will be Bergert's first ever appearance against the Dodgers, and just something to note about Bergert, he has been especially tough on lefties. They are just 3 for 32 against Bergert on the year, and the Dodgers have Ohtani in the lineup, Freeman in the lineup, Muncy in the lineup, Tommy Edman, a switch hitter, Hyun Kim, a left-handed hitter, so a number of lefties that Bergert will face in the Dodger lineup here tonight. Meanwhile, on the mound for LA, right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The 26-year-old is 6-5, a 2.64 ERA in 14 starts, 78 innings and a third, 90 strikeouts, 30 walks, and 55 hits. Yamamoto had a great start to the year, a 1.97 ERA in his first 11 starts, but lately has not been nearly as good, a 5.65 ERA in his last 3 starts, and the Dodgers have lost all 3 of those games. His last start against the Giants on Friday, 4 2/3 innings, 5 runs given up. He gave up 2 home runs in that game, including a grand slam. He made 2 starts against the Padres early last season, 1 in Seoul. His Dodger debut gave up 5 runs on 4 hits and 1 inning in that game. Then pitched against the Padres in LA in April, gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. Manny Machado hit a home run against him in that one. Then the postseason, he started game 1 of the NLDS here in LA. He was hit hard, 5 earned runs given up in just 3 innings. He gave up a home run to Manny again, but then Yamamoto finally got the Padres. He bounced back in game 5 of that series, 5 scoreless innings with just 2 hits given up. And much like Bergert, Yamamoto is tough on lefties. This year, they're batting just 180 against him with a 515 OPS. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup. Ryan Bergert on the mound for San Diego and Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for LA. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Well, it's been a tough series for the Padres so far here in LA. Padres lost on Monday, and then on Tuesday, then on Wednesday, trying to bounce back in this series finale here tonight. We'll see if the Padres can do it. Padres come in 39-34. The Dodgers come in at a record of 46-29, and we'll see how the young right-hander Ryan Bergert does on the mound here tonight. When we come back, it's Jesse Agler and Mark Grant. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.